Hi students, this video is to focus on the vocabulary of lección número 9, lesson 9, and remember that we are talking about las fiestas. So as you can see in here, we want to learn in this unit how to say congratulations, how to express gratitude, and how to pay a bill at the restaurant because this is related with celebrations. As you can see over here as well, here are the topics that we have scheduled for this unit 9, and you have those recordings in this folder as well for lesson 9. So if we keep going, we're going to find the basic information, the basic vocabulary that we have to be looking at. So as always, we have a list over here, and we have some pictures in here to indicate some of the vocabulary in this unit. So for example, in here we're going to talk about happiness, alegría, la amistad, la sorpresa, and then we move on to some examples of celebrations in general, like aniversario de bodas, la boda, el cumpleaños, el matrimonio, la Navidad, and so on. And we have some other vocab that we can use in this context, like celebrar, divertirse, graduarse, and so on. At the end, we see the expressions to say congratulations. We can say felicidades, or we can say felicitaciones. We can also say feliz cumpleaños when we are talking about a birthday. Feliz cumpleaños. We don't have it here, but I think that is pretty common and you guys have heard that before. So we also remember last unit was we were talking about food, and food is a very important part of a celebration. So we have some more food in here, some vocab that we already know, like vino. We know pastel. In this case is pastel de chocolate, los postres, las galletas, el champán, el flan de caramelo, los dulces, and we keep going to the next page. And we have brindar, to toast. We have el invitado, a guest. We have regalar. Now remember, I just want to remind you here that every time that we see a word with an AR verb, like in here or in here, and in the previous one, in the previous page or in the previous list, we have cambiar. In here, we have celebrar, we have divertirse, we have graduarse. So every time that we have an AR at the end or a ER, like in here, sorprender, or an IR at the end, you have to be aware that all of those are verbs. Whenever we have an ending in se, like divertirse or graduarse, we are talking about reflexive verbs. So every time we will have a different conjugation based on the group where that verb belongs. And you should know that already, but just if you forgot, let me remind you about that. So we have some more in here which is related to relaciones personales, relationships. We have casarse, comprometerse, divorciarse, enamorarse, llevarse bien o llevarse mal, romper, salir, separarse y tener una cita. Now, I want you guys to focus on what comes next. So, for example, in here we have casarse con. Now, remember that in one of our topics this unit, we are talking about prepositions, okay? So these are prepositions. We have casarse con, comprometerse con, divorciarse de. Now remember, if you haven't done so, you can look at the prepositions. So for example, that specific topic, grammatical topic that is talking about how to handle prepositions, and then we have a pronoun. So for example in here, casarse con, and if you want to say casarse contigo, to marry you, to get married to you, we're going to say casarse contigo. We are not going to say casarse con tú or casarse con mí. Like get married to me, it's not going to be to get married to yo. We're not going to use that one. We're going to say casarse conmigo, casarse contigo, comprometerse conmigo, comprometerse contigo. So if you haven't checked that grammatical point, please do so. It's called prepositions and pronouns, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. We're not going to say con tú or con yo or con mí. That doesn't sound right. It's going to be contigo, conmigo. Okay? So that's all what I wanted to talk about in here about the vocabulary for this unit. Now, I also want to remind you, this is your book, but I also want to remind you that you have the flashcards in every single lesson. If you go to content and you go to vocabulary tools, you're going to be able to select the lesson that you want to see. So let's go to lección número 9. And then you're going to be able to see the list of words that we have related to this unit. Okay? So if you want to see them all, those are all going to be checked in here, and it's telling you like a subtopic, like for example in here, celebrations, las celebraciones. You can see desserts and other food. As I said, this is a big part of a celebration. Las relaciones personales, relationships, etapas de la vida, palabras adicionales y algunas expresiones útiles. Okay? Useful expressions. If you want to focus just on one, you have to make sure that only one box is selected. So for example in here, let's go look at the expresiones útiles. And then we're going to go back and say flashcards in here. And it's going to give me the flashcards only for that box. Okay? Now we're going to be able to look at the words that belong to that box. Okay? So for example in here is telling me calavera de azúcar. If you don't know this word, you can flip it and then you're going to see that it says skull made of sugar. And we already talked about this celebration. This is a very important celebration in the Mexican culture, but not only in the Mexican culture, but in some other countries as well. So just for you to remember that we have that tool in here. And that's basically what I wanted you guys to pay attention to. And just remember to use those resources that are going to help you, especially with the vocabulary for this unit lesson number 9.